Hello dear friends, Patrick here. The final video for my review of Hillbilly Elegy by J.D. Vance. This is the last video, part 5 of 5. A memoir of a family and culture in crisis with a new afterword. He's got a new afterword in it, which is quite interesting actually. So we're covering chapter 13, 14, 15, the last few chapters, and then the conclusion and the afterword. And if there's anything, whoops, there goes the gate. Let's see if there's anything that jumped out at me here with J.D. Vance talking about his experience at Yale, and he became a lawyer, and then he got these jobs, talking about the Yale Law Journal and all that competing things that they wanted to get into as aspiring lawyers, and the job interviews and all that stuff. Very interesting if you're into that. But anyway, chapter 14, DC Business District. And chapter 14 is very interesting because he goes into some of the causes of trauma. So he really resonates with the reader, especially the reader of the up-and-coming generation that is going through all this single-parent drama, broken home drama, and that appeals to all demographics: white, black, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, you name it. Everybody has family trauma, whether it's broken home or not. Doesn't necessarily have to be a broken home, but he categorizes them as adverse childhood experiences, ACEs, they're called, ACEs. And obviously he's done a lot of research into this topic. And some of the common ACEs are being sworn at, insulted, or humiliated by parents, being pushed, grabbed, or having someone thrown at you, feeling your family didn't support each other, having parents who were separated or divorced, living with an alcoholic or a drug user, and on and on. All these different common ACEs, he relates to them, he understands them, and he knows the research behind them and how important it is to support people that need support. He says here on page 228, we became hardwired for conflict, and that wiring remains even when there's no more conflict to be had. He talks about this experience of going through conflict when you're young and having to struggle and fight and react and all those kind of things. And he really gives a very insightful chapter on the trauma that people experience and how he wants to help that trauma, both through public policy, but also through other avenues that he gives his insights on. He said, I used words as weapons. This is page 230. That's what everyone around me did. I did it to survive. Disagreements were war, and you played to win the game. This is very common amongst young working class people of all demographic, right? He displays in this chapter, chapter 14, an extreme level of self-awareness, which was probably gained through contributions from experts in that field of psychiatry and sociology and on and on. But he has a very acute level of self-awareness talking about himself. He says, Papa's rare breakdown strikes at the heart of an important question for hillbillies like me. You could replace the word hillbillies with people from difficult circumstances. How much of our lives, good and bad, should we credit to our personal decisions, and how much is just the inheritance of our culture, our families, and our parents who have failed their children? How much is mom's life her own fault? Where does blame stop and sympathy begin? And he's talking about, how much do you blame your parents? How much do you blame your circumstances? How much you should take responsibility for? Really excellent insights in chapter 14, I have to say, that actually surprised me from such a slow start to the book, that it just reaches this crescendo of how do I describe it? Just resonance with anybody that could read this. I don't know who would not resonate with at least parts of these later chapters. 242, I think policy lessons to draw from my life, ways we might put our thumb on that all-important side. It starts to talk about what types of policy could help these type of people. In page 244, 640,000 children, most of them poor, will spend at least some time in foster care. He talks about foster care. And all these, different efforts at finding a solution. And it's really a valuable read at that point. And then we have the conclusion where he goes and summarizes a lot of stuff. Part of the conclusion, page 253. Sometimes I view members of the elite with an almost primal scorn. Recently, an acquaintance used the word confabulate in a sentence, and I just wanted to scream, but I have to give it to them. Their children are happier and healthier, their divorce rates lower, their church attendance higher, their lives longer. These people are beating us at our own damn game, he says at the top of 253. So even though he has entered into the elite class himself, he still maintains that distance and that scorn, as he calls it, for this type of elitism that separates the haves from the have-nots. So, and then the afterword, which is described, it says a new afterword, is very insightful because he says, well, for one thing, he mentions how many copies he sold, 2 million copies of his book. So even if he makes a couple of bucks a book, $4 or $5 million he's made off this book or more, after paying his agent and who knows what. But, he's set. Like he's part of the elite. He is a multi-millionaire. He's financially independent. But it's interesting that he distances himself from in the afterword from Donald Trump, which is very interesting. He says, despite all of my reservations about Donald Trump, and he puts in brackets, I ended up voting third party. I don't know what that means with maybe the Republican conventions or what have you. There were parts of his candidacy that spoke to me for his disdain for the elites. So he maintains this distance in the afterword from Donald Trump, even though since that time he has become obviously the right-hand man, the vice president beside Donald Trump. So there you go. A very compelling book, a very powerful autobiography for somebody that is on the fast track to become the next president of the United States. The only thing I don't like about the book is I think he could have thrown out the first 3 chapters. But when you read in the credits and the afterword, in the acknowledgments, how much input he had on this book, dozens and dozens and dozens of people that contributed to giving him advice and including this and not including that. And be that as it may, I think it should be a 200-page book, not a 240-page book. Beyond that, is insightful, powerful, resonating with the working class. A little bit too heavy on the white working class, but that's just my opinion. And a worthwhile read, especially as it is still current with the evolving elites, if you want to call it that, the evolving political landscape of our southern neighbor, the United States, which is very important. They cough and we catch the cold, so to speak. But there you go. Thankful to the person that lent me this book, and if you have a chance, you want to check out something, skip the first or speed read the first 3 chapters, and then you can dig into it, and you might find it has a fair amount of value. That's it. It's done. On to the next one. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you. Hope you're able to enjoy this beautiful warm weather that we're experiencing now. Hope you're able to spend time with people you love, and that you realize that God cares about you, loves you, have a special plan for your life, that you can overcome difficult circumstances, just like J.D. Vance did. You can associate yourself with people that are moving in the right direction. Stay away from those that want to drag you down. Stay away from those that are addicted to drugs. Stay away from those that want you to do drugs. Move forward to sobriety. Move towards health and happiness and goodness and truth and righteousness. And even though it's difficult, get rid of those temptations. Remove them. Instead of indulging in those temptations, help those people. Try and pull those people up. But if they drag you down more than you can pull them up, get away from them. That's what we have to fight against. We have to fight against this negative energy, this death-oriented energy that just all it wants to do is satisfy the flesh in terms of alcohol, drugs, all the vices and so on and so forth. So there you go. God bless you. Thank you for watching. I love you very much, and God loves you too. We'll talk to you again soon. Okay, take care of yourself. Bye for now. Bye bye.